This episode of Gather and Go is brought to you by Visit Atlantic City. Live to explore in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Atlantic City welcomes one and all to the seaside destination where local spirits are connected and the celebrations are unforgettable. Learn more at visitatlanticcity.com.
All right, everybody. My guest today is a travel entrepreneur who made his way into tourism through the fitness industry. After years of teaching surfing, kayaking, and snorkeling, he spent a decade building a following as a SoulCycle instructor in New York City. In 2014, he launched Surf Yoga Beer, a social travel company that takes customers on fitness-inspired trips to some of the world's most spectacular places. Mantas Zvinas, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me. Stoked to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. I'm curious, when you were teaching kids to kayak a long time ago, did it ever cross your mind that one day you would be a tourism entrepreneur?
No, I don't think anyone who's teaching kids how to kayak thinks about that. But like they say in the business, right? Like all the little things that you do, they lead you down a path, and it just made the most sense because this was something I love to do, and I was good at it.
Yeah. So tell us about you spent so long in outdoors instruction, fitness, that sort of thing. Tell us about the aha moment when you said, wait a minute, I think I can turn whatever this is into a travel company.
Well, actually, after our first trip, the first trip wasn't meant to be like a business. It wasn't meant to, no entrepreneurial background. I never went to business school or anything like that. This was more of a trip that I think I needed, and it didn't exist. And I created it and invited some friends and invited some people from SoulCycle where I was teaching. Quickly found out it was in high demand. Like everyone loved the idea, loved the trip, and quickly said you should do another one. And in New York City, I always tell people they should live in New York because you have so many connections, and I had like friends who were lawyers, friends who were marketing, friends who were chefs, and everyone kind of helped create this into like a business and pushed me into making this a company that is still running 10 years later today. So it all happened after the first trip.
Yeah. All right. So take us back to before that first trip. You said you were looking for something that wasn't in the market, that you weren't finding in the market. So what was it that you were looking for? And how did you convince a bunch of friends or friends of friends to trust you with their money and with their vacation?
I grew up in LA, and in LA, I was surfing weekly. I was hiking. I'm an only child. So if I needed some time to just like focus or something, I'd go on a hike, and no one's not relying on anybody or anything like that. So I got a lot of peace and a lot of kind of my breakthroughs through nature. So when I moved to New York City, long story short, for SoulCycle, a really cool up and coming brand, I was kind of I got into this hustle of New York City where I was working 100 days straight, nonstop, a couple classes a day. In every class you're sweating a lot, so there's a lot to take in, quite stressful. So when I was looking for like my usual way of kind of de-stressing, it didn't exist. Like of course you can surf in New York, but you have to take a train that's like an hour and a half, and it's cold, and the conditions are never that good. Hiking is also like a mission. I tried it a few times in New York. It's just very hard to do. Like a friend of mine actually has a great term. He's from LA and also moved to New York, and remember chatting with him. He's like, look, man, East Coast has great surf. West Coast has great surf. It's just that you have like 20 days a year that are great in East Coast, and you have 340 days a year that are great on the West Coast. So you have great places everywhere. But to sum up your question here, I needed an escape from New York City. I wanted to do the things that I grew up doing and that I love doing, and I could not find a surfing like retreat company that would kind of add a little bit of surfing, but also have some other stuff involved. There was no yoga retreats that were balanced at the time. They were all like, you're going to eat 12 almonds and stay silent, right? And then people would sneak. I've heard of people sneaking wine bottles and having wine with other people. And it's like, well, if you're just going to sneak it around, like might as well put it in open. And then, of course, I didn't want to just party. Like I've done a lot of party trips as well in college. So it was something that had all the three things in good balance. And even to this day, our trips are all about balance. Like we don't take any one thing overboard. So it's just simply doing a uh, selfishly finding a trip that I would love to do and finding out other people wanted that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So 10 years ago, what general age group were you in at that point?
I was 26 or 7. I was 27 probably. So
Yeah.
I was 27, but I know some people came in their 30s, and um, I think most people were like around, even at that time, most people were like early 30s. And it's so funny that even today, our main demographic is like our average age is 32. So it's funny that 10 years later, that hasn't changed. Of course, I've gotten older.
Yeah. Yeah. So it seems to me that, of course, in New York, in your 20s, early 30s, everybody's hustling, right? You can't afford to live there if you're not absolutely hustling. That story of 100 days straight of work is just exhausting to me to hear about it. But was that the same sort of situation that most of your friends who came on the trip were coming from, of just being burnt out and needing some sort of rest that was more than just a couple days off in their apartment?
I wouldn't generalize it like that because there were people that flew in from LA as well. I had some friends from
Okay.
LA that came in. So a lot, the ones that came from New York, the first trip was 13 people. So, a few of my friends did come, and you could tell they're that type of personality where they needed like work, work, work. And they brought their computers and they're like, wait a second, this is way, like, I'm going to leave my computer. So letting go of that hustle culture. And I think this did answer it was like the answer to the hustle of New York City, of course, but I don't want to like generalize that it's only for those types of people, or that it only served those types of people. It also served a lot of my friends from LA who came. There's three of them. I knew, two of them, and one of them brought a friend, and they were just like, you know, they kind of like loved the same style of things, or they couldn't really get their hands on doing these things in LA because LA has its own issues. So it was serving, and it brought a lot of different types of people and with different backgrounds, and not necessarily just like the hustle, but it did help those who did come from the hustle.
Yeah. So where did you guys go on that first trip?
Costa Rica.
Ah, beautiful. So you take 13 friends to Costa Rica, you have an amazing time. You come back and they start saying, "Hey, let's do more trips." Walk us quickly through the road from, okay, maybe I can do more trips, to like, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to get a business license. I'm going to figure out like liability insurance, all the things you had to do to actually launch a tour company and make it successful.
Well, all right. So it's like a funny way that life works, right? Like sometimes you don't know I didn't know anything about business development, what an LLC was. It was all new to me. So after the trip, there's a lot of enthusiasm behind it, and people are buzzing. And this still happens now, and I'm sure a lot of other tour operators can relate. You come back from travel with a buzz of new ideas, of this energy. And so what we had, this type of energy and group mentality, and everyone was like, this is so cool. You should do this. You should do that. You should spread the word. And the good thing about like having people from New York come, and it's, my demographic from SoulCycle, it's an expensive workout. It's a boutique fitness. So those who could afford $40 a class are generally like lawyers or people who earn a good amount of money, who have a good background, who can kind of assist in these things. So one of our friends was a lawyer, and he was like, dude, yeah, of course you should make this an LLC. You should do this as a business. Let me help you. It's not a problem. Let me do it for you. So he helped me create that LLC behind it. Another friend was a chef, and he had a restaurant in New York, and he's like, back in the day, we used to have a food element to it where we brought our own chef for the first like 7 years.
Wow.
So he really helped develop the marketing behind it as well. So, he's a chef, but he's also into marketing. So he helped create our first logo, our graphics, our brand guide. Then we, other people, we talked about marketing and like how Instagram and everything like that. Another person was a photographer, so he brought a lot of great content to help promote the following trip, and everything kind of falls in place. So it just, who you surround yourself with, or who comes on your trips, and the enthusiasm, if it's there, use it, right? Like you can't save it for next year. Like the enthusiasm doesn't exist later. So if you have it happening and it's buzzing around you, you got to use it. Otherwise it'll fade away.
I love that. Yeah, great perspective there. It sounds like you really sort of crowdsourced business creation, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I have this quote that the founders of SoulCycle actually said. They never went to business school either, but they paid their business school tuition with the mistakes they made in their business. And of course, the beginning of our business, we made tons of mistakes, and that cost money. And
Yeah.
they're learning curves. So it's almost like paying for business school, having your own business and making mistakes.
Yeah. So, all right, take us to today. How many trips are you doing each year?
This year we have, I think, 38 trips.
Wow.
We might launch 3 more. We, because our demographics is in their 30s, typically, people don't book so far in advance. We can launch a trip that happens in 5 months, 6 months. No problem. And I think most people wouldn't be like, oh, I needed to ask for time off. I think they're like, at least my generation too. I'm 38 years old now. We're kind of like, I still buy tickets last minute. I still decide things on the whim. And in fact, we even have a phrase at our company. It's called "Don't Think, Just Do," and TJD. So a lot of people do sign up last minute, and so with our 38 trips, we might be adding a few more. But for now, it's quite a lot to handle.
Yeah, that would be, a lot for many small to medium-sized tour companies. So, where are you taking people? Is it kind of still Central America focused, or you go other places as well?
Yeah, we transitioned from Costa Rica to Nicaragua, and Nicaragua was a hard destination to tackle, but we tackled it because it has its own issues. The main destination is Nicaragua, but we also go all around the world. Like I just got back from Japan 2 days ago. That was our skiing trip. We have another trip to Chamonix. That's another ski trip. Then, I mean, on our website, there's all the destinations, but our most popular ones are like Italy. Iceland's very popular, and those they have a theme behind it. So some trips are surfing. Our company name is Surf Yoga Beer, and most people think, I'm going to surf and do yoga and do beer. While in the beginning we were doing that, now we branched off into it just means adrenaline. So anything that gets you kind of worked up, that gets you living life, like feeling it, whether that's trail running or sailing, or biking or something like that. We always have that element on our trips. And then the yoga is just the spirituality, the grounding, the connection. And then the beer is the partying, right? Not taking things too seriously. So wherever we go around the world, it might have its own theme, but we generally like to bring that balance.
Yeah. So take me through a day on one of your itineraries. I don't know if that word is even too rigid, too structured for you, but I'm going to wake up at whatever time, 6, 7 a.m. What am I going to be doing with you guys till I go to bed? And how much of it is a led or, facilitated experience versus giving me free time to kind of figure things out on my own?
Yeah. Well, our trips have, it's such a hard business to scale because we really do a lot on each trip, and it's very hands-on. And we bring our leaders, and we have an academy that we train our leaders in, and they're fitness trainers, they're yoga teachers, they're photographers, they're content creators, and then they're coordinators. They coordinate the whole day. So for instance, when we wake up, we usually start the day with movement. And that means whether it's a yoga class or breath work even, or a big workout that we'll do, or a run on the beach or something like that. It just needs to have movement, followed by breakfast as a group, and then we coordinate our activity for the day, whatever it is. Whether it's we get on the bus to go to this crazy mountain, or we all walk down to the beach, do our surf lessons, or we played volleyball, and then we, whatever it is. Then at the end of the day, we all come together. Whether it's another grounding, like whether sunset yoga or some sort of games that we set up, all about bringing people together. We've kind of started to shift in the last couple of years, really focusing on bringing people together, bringing like connection. What we've noticed, and I've noticed this too, is there's this kind of like loneliness thing happening in New York. where it's not as easy to make close friends. And I mean, LA is even worse. If everyone's in a car, and it's just the reliability of making a friend is impossible. So what we focus on these trips is that camaraderie, and you create that through like going through something difficult, whether that's like I said, surfing or a workout. But we also play different games towards the end of the day as well that kind of bring people together. So you're constantly like coordinating the whole day, keeping everyone wrangled together, and then you have a big group meal. So big breakfast, and then big dinner to kind of top the night off. And that's where we have like our happy hour theme parties. And by the end of the day, even by day one, you're so connected with everybody that like now you're having a beer, you're sharing your deepest secrets with the person you just met 24 hours ago, and the coworker that you've known for 20 years doesn't know anything about you. So it's just building that into one day, and we do that every single day. So scaling is impossible. So when I said 38 trips and it's extremely difficult to do that, it's because we curate everything. We curate everything. We coordinate everything ourselves. And we fly in leaders from New York, from Chicago, from Miami, all over the world. And I don't think any other tour company does that. I honestly, I haven't seen any other people do that. And that's because it's just simply not scalable. And it's just too much work for what you get. But you got to love what you do, right?
Yeah, for sure. So this loneliness issue, I've heard it referred to as like a loneliness epidemic. Do you think your customers are coming on your trip because they're excited about surfing or, running or the destination, and then they discover the community aspect and it's this massive bonus? Or are they pretty laser focused on, no, I want to go, I want to meet people, I want to build friendships? Is that part of the purpose that's driving them to sign up for your tour?
Yeah, well, both both are a big driving force. Some people do have that in mind when they sign up. They know it's a group trip for solo travelers, so they're expecting to make friends, and rightfully so, right? They do make a lot of friends. It's very easy to do that because you're surrounded by like-minded people. But not everybody has that on the forefront when they're thinking about travel. Travel usually starts with thinking about destination, like, oh, I really want to go to Morocco, and then you start searching for Morocco, and just so happen to be a group trip that is like that can foster friendships, that can give you a workout, that can teach you how to surf. But still, even to this day, and it's always, I think from when we started 10 years ago, it was always destination drives traffic first, then convenience.
Yeah. So these, what do you call them? Trip leaders or facilitators, or what's the term? Leaders. You're investing a lot in training these people. What is your approach to training them? I'm assuming it's not just the typical tour guide training that other people get. Is it fitness training? Is it facilitating interpersonal connections? Is there something else I'm not even thinking of?
Yeah. Well, I have the manual somewhere. Yeah. It's a full. We got a full manual here. It's like,
wow,
everything from, right, the coordination is the most important. Then you have how you handle like situations, how you bring together people, how you are presented, like you're obviously the first to wake up and last to go to sleep. And then the whole thing of drinking, right? Like, or enjoying or socializing at night. It's kind of like it's a tippy toe situation, but it's so much that like you can't, I couldn't, like, you'd have to sit. What we do is we bring people on to our Nicaragua trips. Especially we have one it's called the Academy, and people can sign up to get their yoga teacher training with us. But the second half is our leadership training. So we bring those who are going to be leaders with us, and we kind of walk them through like, okay, here's how you facilitate like an orientation. Here's how you do a icebreaker that's like not lame, but like a really good one. Here's how you do, this workout. So yes, they need to know how to teach you. Not all of them are yoga teachers, but they could at least lead like a stretch class. And all of them do know how to lead a fitness class. All of them could coordinate. All of them are social butterflies and can make friends with everyone, help connect people, help like mitigate problems. So it's a lot to be a leader, and we do invest a lot of our money, capital, and our time into our leaders. And I think that's because that's the biggest differentiator for our business between anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of that person, if they've got to be the last to go to bed, but they also have to be socializing, they want to be able to have fun with the group, have a drink or two with the group, but they absolutely always have to have their faculties about them in case an emergency comes up, right? I mean, there is really no downtime when you're that leader.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, it seems to me that there are a lot of people that would resonate with this idea, but may also be thinking, I'm not in great shape. My body's not swimsuit ready. It's been years since I've gone climbing or surfing or something. How accessible is this kind of trip to the average, ordinary, 30 something who, works out every now and then, but is not not built like you?
Well, most people that when we have the top 2-3 questions, that's the first one is like, am I fit enough to come? Yeah, absolutely. We're all levels, right? Our run club, even we do run clubs around the city in different cities. We have our run clubs pretty much, it's called Sexy Pace. Like 10 years ago, we were like a Sexy Pace run club. That means we run casually to socialize. And then we'll do push-ups and wait for the whole group. We never do anything where it's just like you leave people behind because it misses the whole point.
Right.
So from our workouts to our hikes to everything, it's all levels, of course. But we did do like this trip to Japan where it was, you have to be intermediate to advanced skier. But it's very rare that we do exclude anybody or try to like put a limit to something. So, our Philippines trip, you need to know how to swim because you have to swim to shore every day from the boat. But there's small like limitation. I think most people generally could make it through no problem. And of course, we've had people who can't swim who've learned how to surf, and everyone's there to kind of help each other out. But I think it's our marketing could kind of push the idea that you don't look fit enough or you might not be good enough for this trip. And that I think we try to showcase everyone that kind of comes on the trip and not just like the ones that stand out and grab camera attention all the time.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. So, have you sort of figured out what the ideal group size is for the experience you want each person to have? It seems like if there's not enough people, you don't have that critical mass and that community building. If there's too many people, folks get lost. So, what's the golden number for you?
For us, it depends on which trip, but I think generally most people enjoy a group size number that's between 16 to like 22. That's probably generally like, I'm sure other tour guides also find that number to be the most comfortable when you have like a 6-day trip. The longer the trip, the bigger the group could be. I think because you get to know more people on a deeper level. We do have trips that are 85 people. We have trips that are, 8 people, 9, 10 people. So it's all ranges, but I think, yes, the group size does matter, but not as much as not as much as people might assume it does. Like there's pros and cons to both. The bigger the trip, the more chance you're going to meet somebody really that you can relate with. The smaller the trip, the better chance you're really going to get to know people on a deeper level. So it's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a sense how your customers are finding you now? Because with 38 trips, it's certainly more than just your friends, right? So where are these people looking for travel inspiration? How do they encounter your brand along the way?
It's funny. The first couple of years, even I think like first six years, everybody knew who I was because I would just talk about it in class and they would come and sign up. And even though I wasn't on the trips, they would still come because they knew me and go to a different trip. Then we started having like 50-50 now. And this is a great thing. Most people don't know who I am on these trips. Shows a testament to how obviously people find us, the company. So marketing through Instagram, through TikTok, through YouTube is a big factor for us. Google is a big factor for us. And then I think, besides organic socials, it's paid media. And that's it's a formula that you can kind of start to rely on, right? Because even organic, like you hit or miss, but at least with marketing, you kind of for the most part, can hold a sustained amount of traffic to your website, amount of eyeballs. We have a pretty good CRM system that we've built over the years. Like I said, it was all about making mistakes and learning about business. So we've learned and we've created really good systems on the back end that kind of help us run this amount of trips with a very like small squad.
Yeah.
Our corporate team's pretty small. There's like 4 or 5 of us that are really grinding. So it's a tight ship, and we're still here, and I'm still grinding.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes. So there are a lot of people that I have met over the past couple of years who are, I don't want to call them influencers because that word has become so degraded, but they have a following in some field. Maybe they are in fitness like you. Maybe they, have a great food blog that people follow, all sorts of different things. And many of them are starting to, sort of discover what you discovered. Like, hey, I might be able to get people to go on a trip. And they do that once or twice. And some of them say, oh, this could be a revenue generator. Can you give them some of those lessons that you learned, through your MBA of hard knocks? What are some of the real key takeaways that somebody should think about if they want to take that platform they already have and use it to generate revenue through travel?
I mean, absolutely. Right. I think if right now the model is you create your personal brand, you're who you are, you let yourself grow, and then you use that to sell. So if you got it, like if you have that, sell it, like do it. Some of our photographers back in like one photographer in particular started his own company, and of course it's awesome. Like I think that he should do it. His partner is has like 5 million followers on TikTok and like almost 1 million on Instagram. So they're for sure like doing really well because they're using their platforms. Sometimes like my wife is an influencer as well. It's hard to just kind of generate your own revenue through sponsorships or influencer gigs. So essentially like a lot of these guys who have their own following start to sell their own product or their own brand. And I think that's where your biggest margins are, when you sell your own rather than work for pay. So my advice would be use it, right? But don't, if you can build a system that doesn't depend on it. Like an example is Emma Chamberlain. She created this coffee company and I think hit it out the ballpark, like big evaluation, raised a lot of money, but it depends on her, right? Like she's not there, and with her following, she's not pushing it. Like you see numbers drop real quick. So you kind of want that to use that, but you have to be careful that like, if you stop, for instance, like your business doesn't continue without you. So it's just being careful, like preparing for the future is what I'm saying. Like I said, my first 6 years, the people were doing it because they knew me. And then we kind of got off of that, and it's almost like a burden off my shoulders. And I would really recommend that to anybody who's really just using their platform and their personal brand to push a business.
Yeah. So you go to the Surf Yoga Beer website today. I don't think your photo is on the homepage, right? I mean, it's not the Mantas show. You're really highlighting the experience overall.
Yeah, no, I try to hide these days. I'm not even posting much on Instagram, and I kind of like it like that.
Yeah. Do you feel like for that young professional, late 20s to late 30s demographic, that the social media, the paid social media advertising or the Google keywords or whatever are kind of critical to, opening a sales funnel? Or is it just, something that works if it works, but you don't have to do that necessarily?
There's so many different ways to go about like running a bit, getting sales, your funnel. But I would say it is critical to have, at least really good organic media, organic socials that can reach tons of people. And you want to be consistent. And look, by the time you push this podcast out, like things are changing pretty quickly in this industry. But at the moment right now, like posting is free. You can have an audience for free. So you don't necessarily need to pay for things, especially if you've got a lot of time on your hand and you're an awesome creator and you can create content that's different and that can really you go viral one time, you can really create a business. And it's a playing field that's been leveled. And it doesn't really matter how many followers a business has. It's more of like how good your content is. And if you hit something out the ballpark, you're going to get a lot of eyes on you, which can result in a lot of sales and boosting your business. So paid media, not necessarily you need it, but to mitigate, like to make sure that like, just in case your organic doesn't do well, at least you're paying for eyes that you know are going to be on your site.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you guys ever talked about whether you would make your product available almost as a white label package where, you know, somebody else could say, I love the sound of this. I would like to bring my own customers and have you guys run the program for us. Is that available or is that outside your scope?
We've toyed with that and thought about that. There are pros and cons for us doing this, of course. And I think we're open to kind of trying it, but we're not putting too much time into, I wouldn't know how to sell a white label. Like we put so much time into selling B2C that I wouldn't, nobody on my team either knows how to do this. We could try doing cold emailing or something like that. But you know, we're good at what we do. We throw phenomenal trips. Our branding, I think, is pretty clean and it speaks for itself and pretty strong. So there's never been a need to do white label. But you know, we're open if there's I don't know if some big company comes in and says we want to do Nicaragua trips. I mean, there's no better person than us to.
Yeah. So if somebody calls you, you're going to take that call.
We'll take a call.
Yeah, perfect. So what is the best way for people to find you and your company, follow you on social, learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, Surf Yoga Beer is a pretty cool Instagram page.
Yeah.
Check it out. Really cool content. But my name is Mantas and my Instagram is Mantas Zvinas. So I'm usually just, social media is the easiest way to talk because at least you know more better about like who you're talking to. That's the best way to contact me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we let you go, we have some questions we ask everybody, and these are just for fun. So no pressure. You can just answer off the top of your head. When you travel, do you book a window seat or an aisle seat?
Yeah, I'm a window guy.
Yeah. What's the reason there?
I lean my head against the window and I pass out. I could pass out on any flight, anywhere. It's the easiest, just knock out. Something about that cabin pressure. Once you get it in the first like 2 minutes of the door closing, utilize it. You just take it and fall asleep before they even show you how to plug a seatbelt.
Oh, man, I am so envious of you being able to do that because the only thing I can get done on a plane is a lot of reading, which is good on its own, but sleep just doesn't come. So yeah, that's a wonderful skill. So what's something in your carry-on that you wouldn't carry, you wouldn't travel without?
There were times in 2019 where we're doing so many trips to Ibiza and Croatia, and I lived in London at the time. I would just travel with a fanny pack. No carry-on, no backpack, just my fanny pack because we had clothes and people, so I don't need anything. I'm a really light guy. The things you own end up owning you.
Yeah, man. Again, I'm envious. My life does not look like that, but I definitely respect that when I see it. So if you had a free airline pass and some time with nothing else to do, where would you be headed next?
I would be flying to some remote island in the Pacific, somewhere hard to get to. That would be my my free pass.
Sounds lovely. To surf there or to just like disappear and get away?
Oh, obviously surf. I want to be the only one on the island with really good surf, something to do all day, and then just go fishing, catch my own fish. Very simple guy.
Yeah, that sounds great. So the last question is, what is one thing you have seen or done on the road that you wish you could go back and experience again with somebody you love?
I had this road trip when I was young, like maybe 19. We had an old school map. This is before the iPhone. And we were driving the 101 north to visit a friend in San Jose, like a last minute trip, like a don't think, just do before our company even started. And it flew out the window. And
oh my gosh,
I just remember looking behind and like it was kind of like a smaller highway. We were off the highway and a big semi truck just ran it over. So my friends and I were like, this is perfect. We're going to go and just ask for directions. And that's the only way we're going to find our way. And that couple days of just driving, we drove the 101 and PCH all the way up towards San Jose, which is near San Francisco. That was one of the coolest road trips. And it's not necessarily because of the place. It's because we had to ask people for directions, or, to find a place to eat, or when's the gas station, or a place to stay. And this is the coolest way to travel. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Every now and then it would be nice to be able to switch off the digital world we live in and have some of that old school analog travel experience for sure.
Yeah, getting lost is an art, and it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. As long as you can get found again. That's the only stipulation. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, hey, Mantas, it's been wonderful having you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this interview. I want to let you know that conversations like this are just part of what you will hear if you tune into a full episode of the Gather and Go podcast. When you listen, you'll get travel news you may not hear anywhere else, along with some really helpful road tips, some smart analysis, and maybe even a hot take from me about issues that are impacting travel right now. Now, you can hear this full episode along with many others by searching for Gather and Go in your favorite podcast player, or you can click on the link right below this video or one of the videos right here to my side. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.